The Bar Group, raising the bar in real estate. Your Lake Highlands, Lakewood, Preston Hollow pros. You can find them at thebargroup.com. Unparalleled customer service for your real estate needs. The Bar Group.
Coming through.
Yeah, so currently I'm doing a list of stuff here. I got a list of stuff I'm doing right here. I'm writing down all the stuff I did in preparation for my next guest. And really, see, look, here's what's happening. I cut my hair. Cut off. Everybody see that? I cut my hair off. I trimmed my beard. I didn't have a beard until after COVID. I really couldn't grow facial hair at all. And I wore my wedding ring. I'm got to impress my next guest. And it's really only one name and one amazing podcast that the truth is, everybody who knows me know personally, professionally, I do not lie. And I learned a lot of some of her guests when she first started the show, and currently when she's doing it. And I just one name, Lynn Cherry, one podcast, the Pickleball Firecast. Miss Cherry, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here.
It is great to be here, Curtis.
She's got a microphone. Oh, see, but mine doesn't move. You got to move yours, right? You can walk around top like that.
Well, I am traveling, so I've got my traveling mic.
She's all organized and stuff. Everybody see that? I'm not like that. I'm not organized at all. So you're doing all right today. So tell our listeners where you're at right now, what you're doing.
I am visiting my brother. I am here in Burbank, California. I've got a couple more weeks to go, but I was escaping some of the cold from Connecticut, although it has not been that cold. And I apologize. I didn't know we were having video today, so I just stepped off the courts and came in.
That's even better, man. See, here's the deal. Is I was told by my producer when I first started this, and again, my background is not this, is doing shows like this, have fun. And that's coming on like that makes it more realistic, because if you're all dressed up and all this crap, it's just like, nah, I shouldn't even do that. And, I'm kind of mad at Lynn right now, listeners, and players and professionals. Are you ready for this? She was in Dallas, and Ren, she didn't even call us. She didn't even contact us. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I did all this. I got to impress. See, I'm like all dressed up like this. Look at them. I'm all to the nines right here. You know what I mean? And she comes up the pickleball court, sipping on her Yeti, whatever. I'm just messing with you. All right. Well, how's your brother doing? Everything all right? Everything good?
Yeah, it's all good here. I escaped most of the rain because I was in Dallas last weekend.
Oh, there she. Hey, can you get that knife out of my back? I can't move the mic with it. No, I'm kidding. I'll stop. In Dallas, that's great. It was a bad week last week. Well, I promise you, next time you come, give us heads up, and we'll take care of you. I promise. So, your Pickleball Fire podcast is amazing. Pickleball Fire podcast. That's phonetics at its best. When did you get into pickleball? Tell us. I know you've told us with your. I know what it is, but this is a new crop. You're getting here, professionals and players all over Dallas and the world now, because we're on all platforms. Talk to us.
I found pickleball in 2018. I had actually lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for 25 years. I moved to Connecticut, and at the time when I moved to Connecticut, I had never heard of pickleball when living in Texas. Yeah. It was pretty much non-existent back in the Dallas area back then. There was just maybe Dave Fleming or somebody like that was playing, and he was playing in like somebody's warehouse or something. So I had no idea about pickleball, but went to Connecticut, was looking for something to do in the winter, looked at the local recreation center, and they had something called pickleball. And I just, looked at a video and I thought, whoa, I'm all in. I had a background as a racquetball player. So, it's how it was, especially 4 years ago. You just show up at the gym, and actually I wasn't planning on playing, just wanted to check it out. Mm-hmm. And of course, as soon as they saw me, they're just like, hey, you want to play? And I'm like, oh, no, I don't have a paddle. And it's like, oh, that's okay. So they give me a paddle, and, I played for about 10 minutes, and then immediately right afterwards went to Dick's Sporting Goods and bought a paddle.
Wow. And the why is pretty obvious, because you liked it and enjoyed it. That's even better. So, what brand do you like currently that you use? I know you asked with all your guests. I learned this from you, quite honestly, to tell the truth. So what are you using right now, or you prefer one?
I have Engage. It's one of their Pursuit paddles, and it's the RX version. I like kind of that wide body And honestly, when a few years ago, I was wanted to sell some pickleball paddles before there were like a million brands, and so I checked out like the top American brands like Selkirk and Engage and whatever, and I was going to just do a little repping and sell some to my friends so they could have demo days and stuff. And actually, Engage really was the only major brand that responded, and so that's actually how I became an Engage rep. And yeah, I love the pursuit. I had actually played with the Engage Encore Pro for my first 3+ years, I guess.
Hmm.
And I have a lot of spin in my game, and that's a that paddle actually is a good combination of power and control. But when you move up to the pursuit line, much more power. And because I had a lot of control, it wasn't hard. And yeah, more power, uh, which is great because as the game evolves, you need more power.
Yeah. So you engage. I was talking about some of my guests. I was a head stringer at Brookhaven for a long time, and ran just millions, thousands of rackets. But I was talking to the one of our interviewers in an episode. I asked them, why they felt, and they said basically what you said. You could feel the sweet spot. You could feel the ball on the paddle more, and it's kind of like strings. And I just until I really started playing a lot more and really getting involved almost 5 years ago. It was I didn't think it was really. I thought it was all the same paddle, and I thought it didn't really matter. And I'm in Atlanta in March, and I had a certain brand that I started with, who I've been with for a long time, or was with for a while, and I love them, still love them for tennis. But anyway, he looks at me, and we get done, and we got our butts kicked, like 21. It was anyway. It was these young guys, and just typical. They were really respectful. They were nice, and we're like, dude, you just talked a bunch of has-beens. And they said, no, we weren't good enough. You guys were really good, and Jeff and I were pretty good. But these guys are younger, better, faster, and they were just good. They just said, you guys were awesome, but we made 2 mistakes, and they were really, as a matter of fact, but they were really nice. And then we left, and my buddy pulls me aside and goes, man, you're doing too much work with that paddle. And I didn't really think about it because had offered other people sending me stuff, and I can really feel a difference, and it's true. And I love that you said that. So Engage you. So you tell me why you like. Is there? I've heard a lot of good reasons why people go with certain companies, the good ones, the smaller ones, or whatever. What drew you to Engage, other than the fact that they were the ones that seemed like they responded to you the best, and what did you like about them?
I think when I first came to Engage, I was actually playing with an Onyx paddle, the Z5. I mean, that was a really popular paddle. In 2018, Dick's had a very limited selection of paddles, but that one kind of felt actually a little bit of the shape and kind of how it was weighted like my racquetball racket, honestly. And so when I was looking for, a little, higher level brand, I found kind of the same thing with Engage, kind of a similar paddle shape, how it was weighted. And the funny thing is when I moved once I picked up the Engage Encore Pro, I immediately knew that it was the right paddle for me. When Engage came out with their new line of paddles with all the different pursuit paddles and the different shapes and also back in their 6.0 line with the MX and EX and all those, I did not actually like those paddles, so I never switched to one of them. But once I got the pursuit paddle, I'm like, well, I think I could get used to this. Now it wasn't love at first, sight in terms of playing with it. It did take a couple weeks to kind of rein it in and feel like I could control the ball as well as I did with my Engage Encore Pro. So yeah, it took a couple weeks, and now when I have friends who try out the Engage Pursuit line, I'm like, you know what, just try it for a couple weeks, and you're gonna love it.
It'll grow on you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I tell people when I first meet them. Like I'm gonna tell you, I'll grow on you. I promise. You'll like me at some point in time. I'm just kidding. All right. So, do you play? I think you may have mentioned something about some certifications. Some people love it, some people don't mind it, some people require it. What are you? I'm with IPTPA and going to be with the PPR. Who are you with if any of that stuff?
Actually, interestingly enough, I do not teach.
Mm-hmm.
I got my fill of
That's fine.
yeah. I got my fill of teaching sports when I was in college.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I had a master's degree in physical
That's right.
education. I taught racquetball for years and years at the college, recreationally, anywhere possible.
Yeah, that's
And I
totally
kind
cool.
of yeah, I kind of made the decision early on with pickleball that I wasn't going to teach. So hence I didn't go through and get
Well, there's
certified.
nothing wrong
No
with that.
no reason for it.
There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, everybody has their own path. You know that. Come on. And so I just asked that question because like I said, some people really care for it, and some people don't, and some people don't want to do it, right? And so I mean, I'm not even. I'm in pickleball right now. I've only got one facility. The other one's getting lines of the courts are getting put down, and I don't have what I want right now. And so I think that you just kind of go with what you want. And quite honestly, I love what you said on your show about you've had some former tennis pros come on that have switching, mingling over to pickleball and eventually full time. And you've had some great guests on there have done that. And ideally, that's kind of what I'd like to shift to. I do love tennis, and I played it and all that stuff. But anyway, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great. So when you play active tournaments, or do you just kind of? Oh, you do obviously. Do you play singles, mixed, or do you play doubles?
See, I actually don't do that either.
I'm
My
killing it
my
right
knees
now.
are
I
really
gotta tell
bad, and so
you.
if I know that if I play in a tournament, there's that really will to win, and especially when you're
Mhm,
playing doubles, you don't want to let your partner down. So
mhm.
I just know that I'm going to stress my knees
Yeah.
more than I need to,
Mhm.
and like in one of my knees, I have no ACL. I
Ugh.
tore it completely. I never had the surgery done. And then my other knee is kind of has ACL issues, but I haven't torn it extensively. So yeah, I do stay away from tournaments because I don't want to go through any injuries, and I don't want to let my partner down by
I
not
know.
going all out.
Hey, listen, I think there's nothing wrong with that. When my dad, when some of the episodes I have, you got so much going on. But one of the everybody has a theme as to why they got into it and what they're trying to say, and if they don't, they don't. They do, whatever. It's about their story. But I like that. How did you pick up just doing pickleball? How'd you start the show, the podcast Fire? That's so awesome. I envisioned you playing a lot and then stopping and just doing this full time, but you just picked it up and you've done an amazing job.
Honestly, it was during the worst of COVID. It was October 2020.
Wow.
And, in Connecticut,
Hmm.
nobody was going anywhere because in Connecticut in October, if you go anywhere, you need to really be inside.
Hmm.
And so we were pretty much just stuck at home. And I'm somebody who I always like to be busy.
Hmm.
And I had a background in journalism. I have a degree in journalism. I was a writer. I was a sports writer for many years before I went to graduate school. And so I was used to interviewing people and asking questions. So I thought, well, let's do a podcast. I mean, technically, it's you're probably sitting there in a studio, but I just sit there at home, and it's pretty straightforward for me, especially at this point, to kind of do an episode and get it out there. But yeah, it started during the pandemic, and I just put out this last Monday episode 200.
Hmm. Well, for those of you that aren't listening, those of you who are listening, I'm not saying this to massage an ego. I'm being completely honest. There is so much good stuff in some of every episode's different, but the ones that I choose are the educational ones, the ones that because it's I'm not gonna say this all. It's amazing how creative you have to be, but there's still similar drills. It's still similar. It should be a similar concept. I only believe in 3 zones, but I think that it's amazing that with regards to the people you've got on, and obviously it's just it's an amazing adventure. Then I love that you are doing this strong, and you're not out there uh, uh, grinding like a lot of people. But you want to know your body. If you don't want to play, don't play. And that's what my dad said, and that's what some other people said. If it's out, it's out. Don't worry about it. Just move on. And so I think it's great that you are providing the educational platform as well as the player platform and new listeners that could go through Pickleball Fire. So I think that's great. When you do play for fun, what's your favorite shot?
I think the one that surprises people the most is when I hit the ball between my legs.
What, you do a tweener?
Yeah, as a
Nice.
as a racquetball player, that's not an unusual shot.
Oh yeah. No, it's not.
And I don't actually hit it as much as I used to, because what I learned is that if I'm hitting that shot, then it's because I'm usually out of position. So as I've gotten better, I actually tend to hit that shot less because my position on the court and the way my body is makes it so I do not have to hit that shot.
That's great. I mean, well, a tweener. All right. Well, that goes down the books because I always say the lob, and it surprises the hell out of people, but it is my favorite. All right. So we'll go on to our new segment here. It's I call it In the Kitchen. I just made it up. Actually, I called it In the Jar, but we came up with in the kitchen. And then I did open up. I started a new thing called Open Play. The last segment of the year, last episode of the year, I'd like to have you come on. And it's just open play, and I'll give you more details if you want to come back on, but that's further down the road. But anyway, I like to create and make things fun. So did you read the sheet that I sent you? Go over it a little bit?
I did.
All right. So now you know we're in the kitchen. So what I'm going to ask you is favorite song, favorite band right now. I've been jamming to The Police and Yada Dada. What are you listening to?
I'm pretty old school. I like Queen. One of my favorites would be We Are the Champions.
Yes. Well, my favorite song by Queen is one from Dead. Don't Stop Me Now. There's so many of them. Sorry. They're all so awesome. She's jamming to Queen. That's good.
Mhm.
So what's your favorite movie or binge series? If you even do that. I don't know. Some people do. Some people don't. I do.
Favorite movie, any type of sports movie. It could be Blindside,
Mhm.
Remember the Titans, both football movies, but
Mhm.
pretty much any movie about sports, I'm all in.
Are you watching Pickled? I haven't watched Pickled yet. I'm going to start watching that.
No, actually, I haven't. I
Okay.
haven't.
I haven't either. I guess I got to get into it, I guess.
Mhm.
And so we're watching the, oh, you know what I've been watching? Speaking of old school, no lie. It's right here. I'll show it. Oh, you saw it. I got into Lost in Space, the original Lost in Space. It's awesome. Have you ever seen it? Don't say you haven't. Have you ever seen it? If that's fine. If you haven't.
I actually have. I've seen a few episodes, and it's funny because that was made so long ago. Nowadays, when you look at it, it's like, oh my gosh,
corny as hell.
the special effects are horrible.
There was some guy in a suit that was this big monster reaching down a hole. You can see the guy's beard and his glasses, but whatever. I don't want to make fun of it, but I like stuff like that. All right, so what is do you have a favorite sports team, or do you like sports at all? Obviously, you like sports. So tell me, who's your favorite team or sports? What, when, where, why?
I did live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for a long
There
time,
you
so
go.
I am a Mavericks and Cowboys fan.
There you go. Have you looked up? You gotta look on the list of shows we got. Derek Harper has his own show here.
Ah,
And
nice.
Nate Newton had. Look on there. You'll notice some of these people on there if you get bored on a plane or whatever, or you're tired of, But anyway, there's a lot of like we got some former athletes that come on here. I haven't met any of them, but because I'm I'm an awesome pickleball guy, but lowly actually, but whatever. And do you like pets? I like pets. I like dogs. I got 2 dogs.
I
Chief.
have 2 dogs and 2 cats.
All right, my dog. My dog cannot beat your dog up. He's a Labrador. He's a wimp. His name's Chief, and I have a little Havanese, which my adopted from my parents. But his name's Gus. So what are your pets' names?
Kylie, Joey, they are the Australian Shepherds, and then Buddy and Tiger are the cats.
All right, what kind of cats? Just alley cats or regular cats?
Yeah, they are both rescues. They are
Awesome.
both mutt cats.
I don't even know what
now-
alley cats are.
Yeah, the first one, Buddy, he bonded with the dogs many years ago, so he thinks he's a dog. He's very social, very friendly. If the dogs are there, he's there.
You got a cat that loves dogs. I listen to Mark Maron's show every once in a while. He's got this cat named Sam. He swears Sam is a human being, and I believe it. I mean, every animal's their own personality. Cats, I'm allergic to them though. It kind of stinks, but they're awesome to have around. When they're not yours, okay, kind of like me, right? You don't know, you're not related to me, but hopefully I'm nice to be around, right? Or be on the show with. All right, so then we'll do the what's one thing no one knows about you that's quirky or funny? Mine is, I'll tell you what mine is. I can make a mean palette anywhere. After 4 years of doing college and playing these stupid satellites, you got to learn to sleep anywhere with what you have. I can make a mean palette.
Good to know, I think.
Well, that's weird. I told you something weird about me or quirky. You have anything?
I think one of the things that's interesting about getting into pickleball is that my favorite book was called Pickles the Fire Cat, and I liked it so much as a kid, my nickname was Pickles.
Really? That's cool. Wow. I have one guest. I'm not gonna say her name, but she likes to go to 24-hour Walmart and shop and play with the toys. No kidding. And she's a legitimate pickleball player and coach. Oh, it's a fun day. So anyway, well, I'll tell you what. We'll wrap this up, and it's a pretty simple little segment here. So for our current listeners, and current professionals and possibly people in your area, maybe they might want a recommendation of what to use, or maybe how to talk to you, or maybe you might know somebody they want to meet that's in Connecticut, or I don't know. How would listeners or professionals reach you?
You can just real simply reach out to Lynn, Lynn, at pickleballfire.com.
That's perfect. Short and sweet. I love it. And then you think you might want to come back on?
Yeah, why not? What the heck?
That's what I'm talking about right there. Next time you're in Dallas, let us know. And then I can be reached at Curtis, Curtis, at reesebracketsports.com. For any questions about the show or whatever you want to do, you want to try to come on, or you want to meet Lynn Cherry in studio, we have to pay. She charges $1 million for an hour? Is that right? Okay, about an hour. So anyway, that's all we really got. And take a listen to the show. Different apps, different personalities, different themes for each little show. And thank you for joining me and my guest, the Lynn Cherry, on the Pickleball Show with Curtis Reese. And hope you all have a great week. And Lynn, if you ever see anybody on the fence about pickleball, do what I do and just say, "Come on, let's pickle." Thanks. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later, Lynn. Enjoy California.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Coming through.